The God of High School is probably my favorite piece of media I've ever read. However, many people don't even know it has an anime, and the ones that do, well, there's a reason they don't talk about it. Today, I'm going to talk about the failure of the God of High School anime, why it happened, what was good about it, and overall, it should probably get a remake. So we're going to get started here with the pros, right? I think we'll go over the good things about it because this video is going to have a lot of, I don't want to say hate, but a lot of criticism of it because it obviously was not great. Now, I will say there are going to be some spoilers in here, so if you haven't watched it, well, that's not really important, but if you haven't read it or haven't watched it, right, I probably wouldn't watch this video, and I know I'm telling people to click off, but, you know, it's for the sake of your enjoyment. With that being said, with the pros, we're going to start with good animation. So it was animated by Mappa. So it did have pretty good animation. It had pretty good fights. It looked decent. My only complaint is I know it's drawn like this in the manhwa, but like they give them like really red noses, and it looks fine in the manhwa, but it looks strange in the animation. I don't know why, but that's not a big deal. I just think it looks a little strange. And then the other pro is they still captured the overall vibe and feeling of God of High School. Like you still get the importance of the tournament, right? You still get that it's kind of about gods towards the end and stuff like that, and you get all these different variables and characters that still get explained, but they just had a lot of issues with this. Now, if you're enjoying this video and want to see more videos like this, just leave a like and subscribe. I've also got my Discord down there where we can talk about anime and anything you guys want, so check that out as well, and I hope to see you guys in there. I hope to see you guys in another video. Let's continue. So now we're going to move on to the problems. I know the pros were very short, but, you know, we did a manhwa review of God of High School. If you want to see me glaze the manhwa and story and how good it is, then you can go watch that, right? But we're going to start with the problems here, and we've got 4 main problems. Number 1, as far as I know, it was Crunchyroll's first anime original, right? It was Crunchyroll's first time doing an anime, if I'm not mistaken, like by them, like they directed it, I believe. If I'm incorrect, let me know. But it was one of their first anime, if not the first, and so that obviously is going to arise with many problems. You know, your first time doing something, it's not going to go great. I mean, that's typically how things go, unless if, you know, you get lucky, beginner's luck, or you're just naturally good at it. Your first time doing something isn't always going to be good. But now we'll talk about the problems that arose from this. Like, probably the worst thing about it is bad pacing mixed with no plan for Season 2. So they basically went with a completely original but inspired story for some reason, which means there really was no plan for Season 2. The bad pacing is absolutely horrendous. If you do not know, the God of High School anime has about 12 episodes, right? And you're like, oh, pretty short anime, right? How many chapters did they adapt? Over 120 chapters in 12 episodes. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh, the chapters might be short, blah, blah, this and that. I mean, JoJo's adapts a lot, and look at that, it's pretty good. Each chapter is on average over 70 pages long, at least. And as the longer it goes on, the longer the chapters get. Like, once you get to the last part of God of High School, the chapters are like over 150 pages a chapter, and they adapted 120 in those in 12 episodes. That is over 1,000 pages that got adapted into 12 episodes. If that's not ridiculous, I don't know what is. That's insane, honestly. I don't understand how they thought that was a good idea. And obviously they cut out a lot of stuff, but we're going to get to that in a sec. But the pacing is just horrendous. It might be the only show that is way too fast. Because look, the fight with Jagal, that doesn't happen until like chapter like 90, if I'm not mistaken. And you get it in 12 episodes. Like, there's a whole ordeal before you get a whole bunch of backstory, you get a whole bunch of lore, you get this, and that. You don't get that in the anime. In the anime, what you get is, oh, you know, you get any wish granted if you participate in the God of High School, this, and that. Oh, they start participating, they realize, oh, we've got some borrowed power, cool. And then you realize one of them's got, like, some crazy shit, which is Jagal, and he's like, I'm gonna become a god. And then Jinmori, like, awakens his power, and he's like, I'm already a god. They didn't explain anything! And then, like, Nox shows up out of nowhere. They don't explain Nox whatsoever. They just show up and start dropping swords from the sky, and then I forgot the one dude's name, but he stops it all, blows him up, restores the town or whatever, and sacrifices his life, this, and that. But they removed so much from it that, like, half of it, it makes sense, but it doesn't. If you just watch the anime, you'd be like, oh, okay, I guess it's this, and that. But it's not. They don't explain any of this stuff, and it doesn't flow properly, and you don't get the reasoning for all this stuff, and it, most importantly, it creates no plan for Season 2. Now, I'm going to go a little bit more into detail on that in a sec, but, like, when you pay something like that, there's no shot you're going to get a season 2 because you cut out so much stuff, which is moving on to my next point, which is removal of important characters / story elements. Now, I get it. You can't include everything in the source material. Like, a lot of anime cut stuff out, which is fine for the most part. But you cut out important stuff, and they still dedicated a whole episode to the Mirai getting married scene, which, is it important? Yes, but they cut out Jin Mori's grandpa's like entire backstory. They cut out characters that are vital for season 2 that just did not appear in the anime, and that's why I was like, there was no plan for a season 2 here. Like, you ruined a story just by limiting it to one season, because there was no plan for season 2, clearly, because you cut out the important characters that need to be there for season 2 and season 3 and season 4 and season 5. There were characters in part 1 that did not make it into the anime that come up later, that you need them back later, and I don't understand why they cut out these characters. I don't understand why they cut out the story elements, like not the formation of Nox, that didn't really happen yet, but like Nox's involvement, what Mubong Park really wanted, what everybody was fighting for, and the different powers explained and everything like that. Like, they cut out so much that was so important to part 1 that made part 1 amazing. Now, don't get me wrong, the anime really isn't terrible, and it does explain most stuff, but they missed out on so much that it just like ruined the possibility for a season 2, and I think that's where they really messed up. Because you can cut a lot out and then you can recover it in season 2, but they cut so much out that it's unrecoverable, and that's the problem. If you can't tell, it really makes me upset because I like the manga. Well, actually, I watched the anime first. I was like, oh, the anime is pretty good. But then I looked up and I was like, oh, they're not going to do another season? Let me start reading it. I start reading it and I'm like, what were these guys smoking, dude? Like, they cut so much stuff. Like, I think episode 1 goes across like 20 chapters almost. Like, it's insane. Like, the pacing is terrible. And the fact they had no plan for season 2 is wild to me. And we're going to move into the fourth and last point, and then I'll talk about a remake after, which I would like to see. But anyway, we're going to go into the fourth problem, which is just the production in general. I thought the music in the God of High School was pretty terrible. A lot of the creative decisions, like we talked about, removal of characters, stuff like that, just didn't end up going well. I feel like they did some strange things as well. Like, it was a Crunchyroll only anime, and they fight in a boxing ring. They just put Crunchyroll ads over everything, which is like, I get it, but like, bro, I don't know. It was just weird, to say the least. The production, it was, animation was good and stuff, and the fight scenes were cool, but overall, I don't think it was, really made with love and care, honestly. I think it was a test run for Crunchyroll, not gonna lie. And now that leads me into the last thing I want to talk about, which is a remake. There's no news of a remake, and with the manga being done and likely not to gain traction ever again because it is finished, yeah, a remake is probably not going to happen. However, I would love for it to happen. It is genuinely an amazing story. If you love, I don't know, if there's a lot of, like, it appeals to a lot of different people, right? I think it is an amazing story, and the fact that it got ruined by Crunchyroll really is heartbreaking to me. I really hope that someday we can get a remake, but the only hope of that happening is the guy comes back, which he still hasn't, makes something new. People love it a lot and are like, oh wait, this is the guy that made God of High School, and then people start reading it again, and then maybe we can get a remake. That's literally the only thing I can think of for that to happen, but he finished the story in, 2022, I think, and has not come out and said a thing again. So, yeah, I'm a little bit worried that, you know, we might not get anything from him again, which means we probably never get anything from God of High School again, which means the hope of a remake is pretty hopeless. Now, there are some cool fan animations out there. Now, they're not of the whole show. Obviously, that'd be way too much. But it just goes to show that people do appreciate this story, and people like me, people that have read it and or have watched it, want to see more from it. I'm not going to say it would be like the greatest anime ever if it got animated right, but it would be successful if it was done properly. I truly do believe that. I mean, there's a reason God of High School is touted as one of the greatest manhwa of all time. I know there's no big three, but if there were a big three, it would be included with Solo Leveling and The Beginning After the End. It is one of the most popular pieces of media from Korea for a reason, and I am very disappointed the way the anime turned out. The manga was fantastic, and I hope we get a remake, but I'm going to be honest, it's not looking good. But, you know, maybe, like I said, he comes back, drops something, you know, that's the only hope. And if not, maybe he comes back, drops something fire, and that could get animated. I want the dude to come back. I haven't heard anything from him. I tried to look it up, and yeah, nothing. He hasn't said a thing, so I really hope he comes back, especially because he said, like, making comics were his life. And so it's sad to see he hasn't made anything in a while, so I'm really hoping he gets back to it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Hope to see you guys in a future video. Peace.